Okay, as we look at this golfer, we can see a couple of things. The stance is very narrow for a wood. We'd like to see the feet at least shoulder width apart. And if I draw a line from the shoulders, whoops, that wasn't very good. Let's try that again. Draw a line from the shoulders. You can see how it's in. Oops, it's really hard to do with your fingers. We'd like to see the feet outside the shoulders, not inside the shoulders. The other thing we see is the hands are very, very far forward, which doesn't allow her to get her left hip raised and her left shoulder higher, much higher than her right shoulder. So we'd like to see her body a little bit more on that line, get the hands body centered or straight in front of the navel so she can stay with her head behind the ball. And you can see right now that her head is actually in front of the ball, not behind the ball. So let's go ahead and watch the swing in slow motion. Pretty decent takeaway. Little collapse there of the left arm through and a scoop. The scoop happens right in here. She's coming in. Notice that the right hand is directly under the club. The left hand is on top of the club. And we've got the little chicken wing going on right there. So we're not rotating into the shot. There's no hip rotation at all. A lot of shoulder rotation. As we watch this swing in slow motion, pay special attention to how he steps into the shot. He starts with his right foot parallel to the club face, and then he steps in. From the target to the ball, steps in, replants. Turn. Turn. Now notice you saw good extension down the line right here. But what we didn't see is a lot of thrust of the hips into that direction. So we'd like to see from Terry is a little bit more right hip thrust. Notice that he's got his right hand pretty well pronated. His left hand is supinated very nicely. But we're going to try to get a little bit more hip thrust out of Terry so that he moves into the finish. He finishes with his hips in front of his head, not behind his head. See what I mean? Okay. Let's take a look at this golfer from face on here at Longwood Golf Center. Notice that the right foot is quite a ways behind the left foot. But her shoulders are nice and square. She's created a great triangle. Let's watch the swing in slow motion. Nice takeaway. Whoop. And all that happened is at the top of the backswing, she just sort of stays there forever. Look at that, just kind of nothing's going on. And then we start down to the golf swing. Not a bad move there. Pretty good rotation, staying a little flat-footed right there. See, right there, at that point now, the right hand should be rotating over the top of the club. The right hip should still be in front of the right elbow. So she should be turning more through the shot. What we see here is a very good setup. Let's watch the swing in slow motion, see if the club head stays above the blue line on the way down and then below the blue line on the way forward. Below and below. That's good. What we do notice, though, is look at her right foot. As we move into this position here, she's got a good weight transfer and then falls right back on the right foot again. So she never got her momentum going forward. So the ball, we got to get her going forward through the shot. Forward. That keeps the ball from going out to the right. See how the ball's going out to the right here. Okay? Okay, here we have a nice down-the-line view. Let's take a look at this swing in slow motion. The blue line represents the swing plane. He's above it and stays above it. What we'd like to see is that the swing stays above the line on the backswing. But from here, instead of going so far to the outside, we'd like to see the club head drop a little bit more down that line. A little furic, but that's going to help him hit better contact. We're looking here at a pretty good setup. The blue line represents the swing plane. The red line represents the plane of the bat. And what we're going to do is we'll watch this swing take place in slow motion. Sorry about the dog barking in the background. They're going crazy here. So we're going to watch this swing in slow motion. We'll see what happens. Takeaways under the blue line. And the downswing is right on the blue line. But notice that her spine has gone above the red line. So let's go back a little bit here. Dogs are going crazy. See how she's coming into the ball, how far she's lifted. She was way down here at setup. So we're going to get her to keep her spine angle a little more consistent. Okay, here we have a pretty good setup. The hands are almost body centered. I would like to see a little bit more of the left hip towards the blue line so that the spine angle could be a little bit away from the target line. But let's go ahead and watch the swing in slow motion. Good takeaway, very stable. There's a tilt, and then he ends up scooping it. So rather than, at this point here, getting behind the ball, he's actually tilting towards the target line. See that? The tilt here, that way. So what we need to do is get him to get behind the ball more, keep his butt out behind him. Right now his butt's in front of him, so he can swing through the shot and develop the power that he's looking to gain. Well, without commenting on the shorts, let's take a look at the swing here. Slow motion. Nice takeaway. Look how balanced and steady he is. Notice how the head led the swing. So what we look for is, does the head pass the blue line before the hips do? See how he's out in front. So we got to do is got to get him to throw the pit first. Okay?